This conference will now be recorded.
Hi, everyone. My name is Christina Kohler-Coluccia, and I'm Head of Business Advisory at Woodburn Accountants and Advisors. I'm really happy to be with you today to give you tip number 8 on incorporating a company in China. And again, another key consideration when stepping foot in China and incorporating a company is choosing your corporate bank account partner. So foreign investors have the options. You can open up a bank with the international banks like HSBC, Citibank, Standard Chartered, etc. Or you can go with a Chinese bank like Bank of China, ICBC, Agricultural Bank, China Merchants Bank, etc. Now, let me give you a couple of tips. First of all, on a global scale, banks are required to go through very strict know your client, KYC, compliance procedures. So my recommendation to you would be if you are incorporating your company through a shareholding entity, talk with your bank in your home jurisdiction to see, first of all, do they have an office in China? Where is that office in China? And they help to facilitate the bank account opening procedure and develop that relationship with that same bank, but with that branch then in China. So for example, if you're banking with HSBC in the UK, talk to your relationship manager if you have one and discuss with them whether they can make a referral to open up the account of your China subsidiary with HSBC. That would be step one. If you're not happy with that discussion, with what they're promising you, which can very well be, you have the flexibility to choose any bank you like to set up your subsidiary with. International banks in China are more difficult to work with compared with Chinese banks because they have some restrictions. You will also find that with the international banks, it is no longer a you choose the bank, it is whether the bank will accept you as a client. So there has to be this open communication and dialogue to know that before you even incorporate your company. With the Chinese banks, it is very easy to open up the corporate account. The question will be whether you get all of the service that you want. So in terms of service, I mean everything from, are there relationship managers? Do they speak English? Will you be able to get eventual credit financing or loans from the bank if at any point needed? Do they have online banking, which almost everybody does, but is it bilingual? Is there an English version? Can you download that software from your home jurisdiction in order to be able to look at bank statements and look at how, or even to approve payments locally? These are all questions you should be discussing with the bank. Now, one thing that I get very frustrated with is that companies make the assumption that we as service providers, and again, I'm talking about lawyers, accountants, incorporation agents, whomever, should make that decision on your behalf. It is wrong because you can change lawyers and service providers at any point in time. Do not rely on our network. We can make introductions by all means, but you have to have an open communication and dialogue. And before you establish your company, you should already know who you want to bank with, and you should have had that open conversation, whether by Zoom or by WeChat, to know whether that bank can help you with the incorporation of the account, the setup of the account, but can also help you in the long term with all of the banking facilities you need. Will you have a relationship manager? Will they be able to communicate in English? Because even without service providers, if you have an in-house accountant, there's not always stability, there's going to be turnover. So you have to have that relationship and you have to make that decision with which bank you want to work with. So the biggest tip I can make is you should know where you want to establish in China, in which city, you should know in which district. You should look in that district regarding the bank branches that are available because there are still a lot of things that have to be done face-to-face at the bank, particularly in terms of incoming transactions from overseas and outgoing transactions to overseas that have to be done in person. So you know, you don't want a bank that is a 1 hour drive away from your office, right? It just makes absolutely no sense. But having that open dialogue and having that communication and contacting that branch and understanding, you know, do they have this relationship manager and this English capability is so vital, because you will want to reach out to the bank at some point in time. So have those conversations. Please, please, please have that dialogue, have that communication with the banks before you incorporate in China. If you need any tips or any connections to banks, please let me know, and I'm very happy to make those referrals. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow for tip number 9. Take care and goodbye.